from a 352. Is this my understanding? Is this Virgil, Texas? Are you eating a salad?
Oh, indeed it is, Sam. How's everything today in Brooklyn?
Oh, everything in Brooklyn is fine. Where are you? In Manchester, New Hampshire?
I am at the DW Diner in Merrimack, New Hampshire, trying not to talk to any voters, don't want to know what's on their mind, just trying to have a nice meal in peace.
I understand now. Merrimack is actually, I believe, near the Merrimack River, and it is south of Manchester, if I'm not mistaken, southwest.
That is correct. I can confirm that.
All right. And now I understand that you have not spoken to any voters, but based upon
None. I've spoken to no voters at all.
And therefore, you have a prediction to make.
I do, by virtue of the fact that I have never spoken with a voter, my mind is totally pure. And therefore, I am capable of delivering to you true wonkery from a deep personal inner source. So,
yeah.
I will now, back in Iowa, I called...
Hold on for 1 second. Would you just hold for 1 second? Because I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to pay my respects here with a little of this. Okay. Now that we have your unadulterated sense of who's going to win, untainted by the views of voters in New Hampshire, please.
Now, back in Iowa, I called the first five, and I was 3 out of 5 there. I got Warren and Buttigieg flipped, but I correctly called Sanders to win, Klobuchar in 5th, and Biden in 4th. This time around, I will start at number 5, and this will mark a dramatic collapse, nearly unprecedented collapse. Joe Biden in number 5 tonight in New Hampshire.
Joe Biden, number 5. Okay.
Number 5, and as you can see, if you watch the debate on Friday, the first words out of Joe Biden's mouth were, "Well, I'm not going to win." Joe Biden has actually abandoned the state, much like Hitler abandoned his wolf's nest. And he's fled to his redoubt in South Carolina. He will not even be here.
Coincidentally, like Hitler, who went down there to Delaware too. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm confused, but yes.
Quite possible. Sorry, Sam, I'm getting a little interference here. There's some eggs happening, but this should clear up in a moment. Okay, that's the number 5, and of course, that's a very, very big deal because
yes.
As recently as 30 days ago, Joe Biden was leading in the New Hampshire polls, and his very, very, very recent collapse has created something of a vacuum, which is adding to the uncertainty about today. It seems to me that the prime beneficiary of Biden's collapse has been Pete Buttigieg, who, again, received a lot of momentum as a consequence of what went down in Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids, okay.
Thank you. Okay. But I also have it on good authority that Bernie, who has also been the second leader in New Hampshire, for the past several months, he's been accruing a decent amount of Biden's second choice support. But again, I think a lot of people here will be making up their minds in the last 24 hours. I mean, there are certain people who have. I saw a video of a woman earlier today. I don't know if you played it for your show, who went to the polls and did not know who to vote for, so she just picked a name at random.
And was it one of the candidates, or did she end up voting for one of the poll workers?
She ended up voting for Amy Klobuchar.
Okay. There you go. All right, so wait a second. So number 5 is Joe Biden. What about 4 through 1? Or are you just going to do 5?
No. We're going to do it. We're getting to it. Let's go. All right. Number 4. This one might shock you, Sam. Number 4. And this also represents a pretty bad collapse, but not as precipitous as Biden's collapse. Elizabeth Warren. Number 4. Shut out of the top 3. And Warren's campaign has just been on a gentle downhill trajectory for the past month or so. And that trajectory has been helped along by That trajectory has been helped along by, of course, her third place, worse than expected finish in Iowa. And a number of her voters are abandoning her have been abandoning her in this final weekend as they realize she does not actually have a chance to win New Hampshire. They're not really concerned about giving her third place or something like that. And I believe that Bernie Sanders is accruing a good amount of that support as Warren people who the quotient of Warren people who think that Sanders and Bernie Sanders and Warren are, basically the same in the same ideological space, and their priority is stopping Buttigieg. They can read the polls.
Right.
So that is number 4, and I think it's very, very difficult to see how Elizabeth Warren continues with her campaign. I think she starts to run out of money now. I think she has to start triaging. I think the smartest thing for her would be to concede the race tomorrow.
Do you think she's really running out of money? I think she has some, but maybe, I don't know.
I think she has some, but remember, she has a very high burn rate, and she's already canceled a series of appearances of flights in Nevada and South Carolina, both states where she's not been doing very well in the polls. Honestly, after tonight, if she takes 4th, as I predict that she will, she's going to have to take a look at the map and think, where the hell am I going to win? Right. Especially with her home state primary looming on Super Tuesday. If you've taken 3rd or 4th place in the first 4 early states, you're in danger of losing your home state on Super Tuesday, and you're just not a contender at that point.
And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
You don't want
because it just weakens you. It just weakens you as a senator generally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as well, when you have you've got like about 80 feral Kennedys in the state of Massachusetts who are all waiting for the next Senate seat to open up.
People have asked why Kennedy did this with Markey, and there has been some conjecture that he was also trying to set himself up in the event that Warren either becomes the nominee or becomes VP or becomes a cabinet secretary. But yes, they're all the Kennedys are out there looming. Fair enough. So Warren as 4th. That's a pretty bold prediction that Klobuchar would jump up from 5th in Iowa to either 2nd or 3rd. I'm going to predict what your prediction is for number 3, and I'm going to guess Klobuchar.
It is Amy Klobuchar. The clubmentum is real in Iowa. It's not huge or anything, but it's bigger than you'd expect considering that she just spent the past year talking about her Midwestern values. Well, nobody here gives a damn about Midwestern values.
Right, but
guess what? You got to vote for someone. Might as well eeny, miny, moe it like that woman did.
She also had a good debate. I mean, I from the perspective of what I heard from up in New Hampshire, that people felt like she had a good debate.
Jim Bernie, I think both had good debates. They both did what they had to do. Bernie, which is he had to land a hit on Buttigieg, and I think he succeeded on that. And Klob, hitting him from the other direction, knowing that. As if she can arrest the Buttigieg surge, she's the prime beneficiary of him going down. Credible polling has shown that in the past 48 hours, Buttigieg's numbers have gone down marginally, by a few points. But it looks like the kind of mini Buttigieg honeymoon is over. And again, what it really comes down to is you got to vote for someone. And, Warren's Klobuchar is just here. She's still around. Hi.
And then I guess number 2 is in fact Pete, right?
It is Mayor Pete. Yeah. The Pete surge was real. I think there was a period where the race was tied, but right now, and again, this is a shift of just the past 48 hours. I think Bernie Sanders has opened up I'll call it a substantial lead over Pete. Again, there's a great deal of uncertainty with a great deal of uncertain voters, but my final margin call will be, my final margin call will be Bernie Sanders, number 1, by 8%.
By 8%. Okay.
8 points.
All right.
I honestly, I consider that a conservative estimate.
Okay. Now.
Could be anywhere from 8 to 12. Would not be surprised.
8 to 12. All right. And now let me ask you this. You've listed the top 5, and here we have, because we are the podcast of record, and Virgil Texas predictions are right here. However, let me ask you this. Sanders, number 1, Buttigieg, number 2, Klobuchar, 3, Warren, 4, Joe Biden, 5. Where on this list is the cutoff for 15%? Because that's going to determine whether or not you are eligible to get any of the delegates.
Right. It's very possible that only Bernie and Buttigieg meet the threshold, just based on the polling that I've seen. I kind of think if the club surge, if it is just big enough, I think she could sneak past the threshold.
The club surge.
I really don't see Warren or Biden doing it. I think Biden finishes in single digits, actually. And for Warren, honestly, at this point, I think it's a struggle for her to meet the threshold. She might do it, but I would bet against it.
Okay.
And honestly, if you're at this place and you've invested, $50 million in New Hampshire, and it's a state next to yours, and you're placing 4th and you don't meet the delegate threshold, it's futile at this point. And I think if Elizabeth Warren finishes, as I predict, below the threshold at number 4, and yet she continues her campaign, she continues traveling around the country, I think then it's pretty clear that she's only in this to kneecap Bernie Sanders.
Interesting. All right. Well, Virgil, Texas. Yes.
Oh, yeah. One last thing.
Please.
This is a good result for Klobuchar, and I think this, gives her a fresh look.
A fresh look. All right.
A fresh look for the club. She wins the expectation game.
There you go. I sense like Virgil has got he's like on there's a little bit of like Klobucharosity going on with you.
Oh, I thank you. I take that as a compliment. It means my candidate sign is Klobuchar. It means you're fierce and erotic.
Well, Virgil, Texas, thanks for checking in with us. Maybe we can get you to call us tonight from the
I will be.
You'll be at the party.
Very quick plug. I will be calling in at the Bernie Victory Rally in Manchester later tonight, and we will also be covering on the. We will also have full primary coverage on your rival network. Twitch.tv/Chapo Trap House, where I will be doing video streaming.
Wow. All Manchester. Right. You guys are aware of your substandard monitors, right? For that Twitch streaming back in your office? We can talk about that later.
Actually, our monitors are really good.
Actually, I've heard that they're actually...
what an IT...
They don't have a very high refresh rate, but we don't need to get into that.
We actually talked to someone from the Geek Squad, and they said our monitors are better than yours.
Yeah, well, you got completely snowed. You might want to check that refresh rate one more time. Virgil.
No, that was yours.
What? Virgil, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
I'm eating eggs.
All right, bye-bye. We'll talk to you later. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Virgil, Texas. We have it on record. He says Bernie Sanders by at least 8 percentage points, then Pete Buttigieg, then Amy Klobuchar. She is right, as we can see, indicated by the highlighter I have written on the list here. She is right on the verge of, according to Virgil, Texas, of qualifying for any delegates. Then Warren, and then Joe Biden.
A lot of faith in the club.
I've never seen somebody who has moved so quickly into somebody else's camp.